Hello and welcome back. In this episode we're going to take a look at the center widget, which, as the name suggests, allows you to centrally align a child inside its parent. You'll notice our homepage contains an app bar, and inside the scaffold, alongside the app bar, we're going to create a body with a fixed width and height container. This container is going to be red in colour, and it's going to have a fixed width of 100 and a fixed height of 100 for the purposes of this demonstration. You'll notice after hot reloading that we now have a red container with a width of 100 and a height of 100 aligned in the top left hand corner of the scaffold's body. Now what we can do, using our IDE here, we can wrap this container with a center widget. Now the center widget takes in a single child, which in this example is our red container, and it will centrally align that red container inside the parent, which is the scaffold's body in this example. If we hot reload the application, you'll notice there how the red container is then center aligned both vertically and horizontally in the scaffold's body. Now by default, the center widget will fill the width and height available to it if the width and height are constrained. That's because the scaffold body is constrained to the width and height of the application running in the emulator. To simulate the center widget being inside an unconstrained widget, we can wrap the center widget in an unconstrained box. The unconstrained box widget essentially removes all constraints from its child, as if the child was being rendered without any constraints. Now you'll notice how when we have that unconstrained box in the widget tree, the container reverts its position back to the top left of the scaffold's body. That is because if the center widget has unconstrained width and or height, then it will match the width and height of its child. Because the center is wrapped in this unconstrained box, which removes any and all constraints, the center widget will have a width of 100, and the center widget will also have a height of 100, because that is the width and height of the child, this red container. You'll notice how, if we apply constraints to the vertical axes, then the center widget will fill up all of the vertical space, centrally aligning the container vertically. You'll notice also if we specify constraints in the horizontal axes, then the center widget will centrally align the red container horizontally. So if you use the center widget and the child, in this case the red container, doesn't centrally align and you notice no difference, then it's a good idea to check to make sure the center widget has constraints, because if the center widget is unconstrained in any or both of the axes, then it will match the width or height of its child. And if the center widget, of course, contains the same width and height of its child, then there will be nothing to centrally align. Removing this unconstrained box, you'll see it reverts back to being centrally aligned both horizontally and vertically. And last but not least, you'll notice the center widget itself contains a width factor and a height factor property. If we specify a width factor of 1, then you'll notice how the center widget will have the same width of its child. In this case, it will be 100 pixels, because the width of the container is 100 times the width factor of 1, 100 times 1 being 100, meaning the center widget will have a width of 100. If we were to increase that to a width factor of 2, you'll notice how the center widget grows in size around the container, because the width of the container, 100, times the width factor of 2, means that the center widget will have a width of 200 pixels. Likewise, you can also specify the height factor. In this example, if we use a height factor of 4, you'll notice the center widget will have a height of 400. The height of the container being 100 times a height factor of 4, giving a total height for the center widget of 400 pixels. Removing both the width and the height factor reverts the center widget to take up as much width and height as possible in its parent's constraints. So essentially, if you're looking to centrally align content in your application, then you'll most likely be wanting to use the center widget. I hope you found this useful. Thank you very much for watching.